Hello everybody and welcome back to reality. So what we have here is something really cool that I've been working on for quite some time now. So as you can tell, this is going to be a gravity gun in vanilla Minecraft. So I believe this has been done before, maybe by Simply Sark. I have seen a couple of different, I've seen at least one video for this. And I have seen a couple of different ways to do it, but it has never been done the way that I have done it now. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you guys. So as you see here, we just look at the block and we click it up like this. And you see, we will have our block that is picked up just like a real gravity gun. We can pull it around with us. We can, whichever way we look, the block is going to go that way. If we want to drop the block off, we just stand right here and we just drop the block like so. Or if we want to actually launch the block, then you can launch it like that. So I don't know how accurate this is. I've actually never played the Half-Life series, but I think it is pretty cool nonetheless. So you can launch your blocks diagonally, whichever way you want to launch them. And yeah, I've gone ahead and I've actually built a map for you guys to play with and kind of test around for yourselves. If you guys want to check that out, there's a download link in the description. But yeah, this is a really cool, really awesome thing. You can just launch these blocks wherever, kind of drag them out, and oopsies, there are a little bit of few bugs that I'm working on, but it still works pretty smoothly if you kind of do everything right. So yeah, the map, it has of course reset buttons if you happen to make a mistake. It has hints if you don't know what you're doing in the levels. And yeah, it's just a little fun challenge map to see how far you can get. And yeah, so I'm also going to be including a tutorial for this map. If you guys check it out and you aren't quite understanding all the rooms, then you can always make sure to check that out. But yeah, so that is how this works, guys. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the redstone here. Alrighty guys, so we have quite a lot of things going on here. So I really couldn't include a schematic because some stuff was actually specific. So really the only way if you're going to be able to kind of use this if you guys want to play around with this is in the map. You could always kind of edit the own map and create your own if you want. But yeah, the map is fairly big and I believe there's 15 levels and they just get harder as you go. So these are really fun. I'll leave the download and everything if you guys want to check out the map, and let's go ahead and show you guys basically how it works. So of course, at the beginning here, we have a fill block, 21 blocks of redstone. That is a lot of command blocks. So a lot of them are actually pretty similar here. So the first 8 of these are exactly the same. Also the ones on that side, so I'm only going to go over one. And as you see here, first of all, first thing it's doing, it's executing all the players whose rotation is roughly that. So, and each of these 8 ones, it just corresponds to each individual angle. So there's a 45-degree angle from here to here. Then the 45-degree angle from here to here, 45-degree angle from here to here, and so on and so on. So each one of those, well, it does have the rotation. It's just teleporting the zombie to the player. Same for each one of these. Now, the reason it does that is because, unfortunately, you cannot teleport entities relative to entities. You can only teleport entities to entities or teleport them from where they're at current location. So what I do, or basically what this does, it teleports the zombie to the player, and then it teleports the zombie 1.5 blocks that way relative of the player. So it actually is just teleporting the zombie back to the player and then back to its location really quickly. And just because of the way the redstone works, it can only get teleported out once. And since these ones run first, this is the one you see. And that's why the zombie is actually kind of away from us. And each of these is like different, depending on the rotation, or this is the right side. Yeah, depending on the rotation, it'll be teleported to different spots. So this is an angle. This is also angles and just all kinds of random places where the zombie can be teleported. So if I go ahead and pick a block up here, you will see that, or whoops, I have set some stuff in place. So let me just set block right here to planks, like so. And you see when we pick this guy up, yep, you're gonna see whichever way we look, he's gonna be looking. Now the crate does look a little bit big. It's actually supposed to be smaller than this. It is actually a block on an invisible zombie's head, which is how it's kind of floating around, and that's why there's a zombie involved. And actually, there's just a bug in the snapshot I'm using that's 14W25B, I believe, where basically, if you put hats on a player, the hat will be gigantic and upside down. So that's why it's really big. So if you're playing in any other version of the snapshot, then it will actually appear normally. So it's actually a little bit smaller than it actually looks right here. So yeah, I would recommend playing this map in an earlier snapshot like 22B. But either way, it still works functionally and everything. Alright, up next, you see how we actually launch the block. So there's a couple of things going on here. So let's see if we can find the edge right here, or shifting into the next commands right about here. Yes. So it's basically executing at all the players who score gravity launch at least one, and then the customized rotation for each 8 of these commands. It's just summoning falling sand with motion, it looks like a block, and all that, which is, why it does that. So, it says if a player is facing this way, summon the falling sand relative to the player there. If the player is facing this way, summon it relative to them that way. So yeah, that's just how it detects the rotation of the block and which way to launch it. And you also saw the little red bit over there, because what I've done with this bow, I've actually gone ahead and I've given it sharpness. I'm hiding flags, but yeah, it actually has sharpness 1000 and knockback 1000. Now the reason I've done this is because, if you just kill the zombie, then what's gonna happen is, you're gonna see the little red corpse of the zombie fall down. You're gonna see the red block for the head, and that's gonna look a little bit weird. So I gave it the knockback, so it'll launch the corpse extremely far away, and most of the time you will not be able to see it. Maybe if we go into F5 mode here, yes, you saw the corpse got launched there extremely far. So that kind of goes as to hiding it, so that kind of helps hide the block from the player. And yeah, so it's just each one of these for each of the rotations. And the gravity launch is just a killing zombie objective, which I believe is reset up here, or no, it is reset at the end here. And also the zombie, he's given a couple different, yes. So that's just every time you kill a zombie, it goes up by 1, and then it resets after it's run through the whole slew of commands. And yeah, the zombie, he actually does have regeneration and some resistance to the point just where he just barely can't die. So you have to get him with a really strong hit, so you can't just punch him with anything. You have to hit him with the bow. And yeah, you may have noticed also, but if we stop holding the bow here, then we're just gonna drop the block because we're not actually launching it. So that's what's going on next up here, I believe. Let's see if we can find it. Yes, so it's setting all the players. So here's actually the individual ones where it's giving us our score, where it's detecting if we're holding the gun or not. It's actually, yes, it is detecting if the player's score of gun is at least 1, or, no, sorry, it's saying if they have an item in their inventory, a bow, called the gravity gun, and in their currently selected item slot, then it's going to set their score of the gun to 1. That's just for each individual 8 item slots here, or 9. So yeah, they're all set that as the objective. Set display sidebar gun. And as you see here, every time I'm holding the gun, it goes up to 1, kind of flash come down, but as soon as I stop holding it, it's just going to sit at 0. Of course, this will work in any of the places. So that's how it determines the gun score. And what this guy is doing right here, it's saying testing for all the players whose score of gun is back to 0. And so what it does, it'll run this, and of course it'll stop. And what this guy does, it's going to set all the zombies, it's going to set their score of zombie back to 0, which is how we mark the zombie. That's the zombie that we were teleporting. And then what it's going to do, it's going to summon the falling sand relative 1 to the player, which is, how it does the little thing there. You see, it'll always just do that in the direction we're facing. So, it works diagonally and everything. So yeah, that's how it works. And let's see here. A little bit confused about how it does the dropping sand. If I only put this one here, I must have included something else somewhere. But yeah, and then it sets the block back up 1 to air. So that would be right there. And what's going on? Oh yes, sorry about that, guys. So what it's actually doing, it's summoning the falling sand where the zombie is. So yeah, it's actually, instead of having to specify each individual coordinate, it's just doing it where the zombie is. So yeah, this way it actually is rotation specific, but this one, just 1 is just saying where's the zombie, and it summons the falling block there. So yeah, that's just wherever the zombie is where it drops it. And then right here, it teleports all the zombies who score a zombie as 0, teleports them down to 0, 0, so you can't see them die with the falling animation like I showed you before. And oh, this guy, sorry about that, he's part of this little bit. Alright. Up next here, we have these actual things, and these are pretty big, and there's 4 of them. Now, if you haven't guessed, these are for the 4 individual pickup conditions. The pickup condition this way, the pickup condition this way, the pickup condition this way, and the pickup condition this way. Right, you can actually pick up blocks sideways. Now, there's actually a reason, because I didn't want players to be able to just, if there was a wall right here, didn't want them to be able to just do that, because that doesn't really make logical sense. Of course, if there's a whatever block on top, you can still pick it up. And yeah, you saw the zombie did take a little bit of hurt damage there, because that is a zombie. So anyways, let's see, what are we doing right now? So first of all, it's testing for all the players whose score of gravity is at least 1. Now what gravity is, that is an objective every time you shoot the gun. It's basically the stat.use the item gravity gun. And basically what we're doing over here, we're killing all the arrows. So, you can't actually shoot arrows. We're just testing if the player shoots the gravity gun. So that makes their score of gravity become 1. And then it's testing for the different rotations. This time it's only 90-degree rotation for each set of angles. And then it's testing if their score of gun is 1. So they have to be holding the gravity gun. So you see when I shoot this, one of them will go on depending on each rotation. There's that one, and that one. Now when they go on, the first thing they do, they say execute it all at the closest player, clone the block relative to them, and then clone it to the exact chords, which ends up being right here. So for example, if I stand right here and do it, so I think I activated this one. Yep, you saw the command block just became right there. So if we try this one, see that block will become up there. And the reason it does this is it goes ahead and it says, first of all, it sets their score of gravity back to 0 automatically, and then it tests where if the block right here is planks. So if it is planks, it'll run, but if it isn't, it just won't do anything at all. Even if it's just the exact same command, is not going to do anything. And there also is a little bit of a problem. If the player actually, if they're inside a lava pit or something and they use a gravity gun, then that's going to happen. That's going to just melt all the redstone, and that is no good. So definitely don't want to use a gun in lava. Alright, and of course it just sets the block back here to air, which that is not being used quite yet. And so yeah, it doesn't do anything if it is in the right block, but if it is, gonna go ahead and activate this guy. First of all, it's gonna set the block right here to a redstone block, which is gonna summon the zombie that we need. And then it is going to fill this area back in with air to kind of get rid of the planks. And then it's gonna set the block right here to a redstone block, so it'll test again. And since there won't be any more blocks, it'll stop executing. And then over here, it's going to set the block, or it's going to execute at the player, set the block relative to them. So the place where the plank is, it's going to set that block to air, which is how it replaces the block with air. And then it's going to kill all the zombies within a radius of 1. So that's if you try and pick up multiple crates, it'll just kill the one before it. So for example, if I try and set a block to planks here, whoops, like so. If we try and pick up 2 of them, so you pick up that one, but if we try and pick up another one, the one we have should die. It is a little bit buggy when you try and pick up multiple ones, so it sometimes works. It's just a little bit weird. Not entirely sure what goes on all the time. But anyways, let's go ahead and skip it over here. So what it does, it'll set the redstone block to right here, which of course will just set it back to air. And this is what actually summons our zombie, which is going to be used for our gun. First thing it does, summons a zombie with a whole bunch of things. First of all, it's just summoning them up 1, but they have the ID 5, so this is what's actually on their head. Now this works because you can put any block on mobs' heads, including your own, and this is because of pumpkins. If we didn't have pumpkins in the game, we would not have this. But yeah, we do, and it's a little bit buggy in the snapshot, but because of that, we do have it, so we could put any block we want on here. If we want a stone, we could just try ID 1, and we would have a stone block. But of course, you do have to specify the block that you want on the head, which is why this only works with the block that you specify it for, and in this case that is planks. Alright, up next, we're giving the effect to all the zombies within a radius of 3. We're giving them resistance times 3, which makes them just barely not invincible, but really close. So a lot of damage they take will be reduced, so you'll be able to kind of drag them through walls and stuff and they won't die, which is nice. Over here, this one gives them invisibility, which is why they're invisible. This one gives them jump boost. Now the reason they have jump boost is because when you're doing this, it's kind of teleporting them down. If you're on an up area like this, for example, they'll start getting a bunch of fall damage because of the glitchy way Minecraft physics works, and they can take fall damage like that, and it is all cumulative. It's a little bit weird, but the reason I gave them jump boost is because I want them to be able to survive higher falls, because the bigger the jump boost the player has, the higher they can fall without taking damage, so that helps just a little bit. And that is everything, I think. Oh, and it gives them regeneration times 10. So they get regenerated really fast too, so it's really hard for them to die. And then last thing, it sets their score of zombie to 1, which is how it marks it as, hey, this zombie is what we're using. So that way if you want to use zombies, then they're not doing anything. But if we do get our regular zombie, it's going to give it the score, and we're still going to be able to use our gravity gun and sort of launch it the way we want. So yeah, that is basically, it's nearly everything. Yeah, over here we just have resetting their scores, and this is just some stuff for spawning. But yeah, so that's basically how the map works and everything. So it is really cool. I have been working on this for quite some time, and this is kind of my thank you for 500 subscribers, guys. I'm just really happy for all the support that I've been. You guys have really been helping me out, and I really appreciate it. And so I will always continue to get good content out to you guys who support me, and I just really love you guys. So thank you so much for helping me out, help me reach this milestone. But that is really all I got, guys. Make sure to download the map, check it out for yourselves, and that's really all I have. Thank you so much for watching it. I will see you guys in the next one. But first, 500 TNT for 500 subscribers. Here you guys go. Jeez. Oh man.